And then there were two.
So Central Washington is going to play the Alaska Anchorage Seawolves in the Great Northwest Athletic Conference Men's Basketball Championship game in Ellensburg tomorrow, March 4th at 5 p.m. The game is also on television on Fox Sports Northwest. If you do have that channel, I would encourage you to watch it because you're going to see a heck of a game. Now, the region rankings have come out. They came out yesterday, but it took me a while to find them. And Central, I'm glad to say, is still ranked number 1 in the region. They are also now ranked 10th in the nation. They've moved up a spot from 11th. So, if Central can win this game, pretty sure, very confident that we will, in fact, host playoff games. And the rest of the teams in the region will have to go to Ellensburg and try and win there. So, they have Alaska Anchorage in front of them first. Now, if I had my choice, I would have chosen to play Seattle Pacific University because coming out of the second round of the tournament, Seattle Pacific would have been the lower seed. Also, Central has a tendency to do a little bit better against the Falcons than the Seawolves. I've watched both their games, and yes, SPU is a good team. It's just Central was able to handle SPU's game a little bit more than Alaska Anchorage. And so we have a number 1 seed versus number 2 seed in the Great Northwest Athletic Conference Championship game. And Alaska does scare me. They scare me. They do. And here is why. For those of you who don't follow Division II basketball very much, Alaska Anchorage is always a force. They're always a force. They don't necessarily win the Great Northwest Athletic Conference title every single year, but they're always a force to reckon with. They're always tough. They are the better of the two Alaska schools, Alaska Fairbanks being the other one. And I'm very happy this game is in Ellensburg and not Anchorage, because when Great Northwest Athletic Conference teams travel to Alaska, they usually do what a typical Division I program, or at least for the Pac-10 does, play one state school and then they play the other state school. And it is very hard to sweep both the schools in Alaska. Very hard. Central has only done it twice. And they did it last year and they've done it this year. To go up to Fairbanks, win there, then win in Anchorage. So I'm very happy this game is in Ellensburg. Now here's the next reason why UAA scares me. Alaska was ranked 7th in the West region last week. So they're kind of playing with the chip on their shoulders, and if they don't win this tournament, they are not going to make the playoffs. They are now ranked 9th in the West region. That's crucial because you have to be ranked 8th or above. So if the playoffs started today, Alaska Anchorage would not be in the playoffs. So they have something to play for. They got something to play for. They also scare me because, unlike Central, they've been challenged in this tournament. Not only have they been challenged, but they've been challenged on their home court. First game, it was a close ball game until, give or take, kind of toward the ending. But St. Martin's gave them a run for their money, and also Seattle Pacific University came very close pulling the upset. But they did not. So that's the reason why I'm concerned, because unlike Central, who if they do lose this game, Alaska Anchorage could lose this game and not make the playoffs. So, also, Central has only lost 2 conference games this year. And one of them was against Alaska Anchorage. Central has only lost 1 home game this year. And that game was also against Alaska Anchorage. So let's review what Central Washington and Alaska Anchorage did this season. First game was in Ellensburg. There we go. First game was in Ellensburg, and Central ended up losing by a score of 98-93 in double overtime. Alaska Anchorage was led by Taylor Rod with 28 points. Brandon Walker had 23 points. Casey Robinson, 18. And also Taylor Rod. I hope I'm saying that correctly. That's Rohde. Rod also had 15 rebounds, finishing with the double-double. Central was led by Chris Sprinker with 23 points, Jamar Berry with 18 points, Humberto Perez 15 points, and Chris Scott 12 points.
Humberto Perez led the Wildcats in rebounds with 7. Second game was in Alaska.
The final score to this game was 52-50 Central Washington in regulation. So if you do the math, we have the games have been decided by a grand total of 7 points. Pretty close games. Alaska Anchorage again was led by Taylor Rod, 15 points, and Mario Gill with 10 points. Taylor Rod also finished with double-double again that night with 10 rebounds. Central was led by Chris Sprinker in the low-scoring affair, 11 points. Drew Harris also added 11, and Jamar Berry had 10. Key play, this game came down to the wire, as I'm sure when you heard the score, 52-50. Alaska Anchorage lost this game on a missed three-pointer in the final play. Yeah, so this is not going to be an easy game. This is going to be a physical matchup. This is going to be a fast-paced matchup, and Alaska Anchorage is going to give everything the Wildcats are going to can handle. I know I said that about Northwest Nazarene, and man, I hope I'm wrong about Alaska Anchorage, because this is going to be a very tight ball game. Keys to the game: Jamar Berry must continue to play well. He's played well for Central. He's been the one showing up on the score sheet in this tournament. And another thing is the Wildcats cannot get into foul trouble. As I said before, this is going to be a physical, fast-paced game. Also, in the first game against Alaska Anchorage, I know the game went into double overtime, so that's going to skew the fouls. But Central did have some players foul out in that game. So, got to watch out for that. Central must keep Taylor Rod in check. He's been the leading scorer for Alaska Anchorage on not one, but 2 occasions against the Wildcats. And then finally, this is a home game, so we got to keep this crowd in it. Central must keep this game tight to keep that crowd in Nicholson Pavilion, get the student section involved. The fans have been great. I've been watching their games online. The fans have been fantastic, and so I hope that that continues as this tournament progresses. So, good luck to the Wildcats. This is gonna be a barn burner. So go Cats! Again, follow my coverage of the Wildcats on Facebook and Myspace and Twitter. The links are below. And let's go out and get the first ever Great Northwest Athletic Conference postseason conference tournament championship. Let's go Cats!